Hey guys, I'm back with a haul as well as a swatch card. If you're interested, I have been down this rat hole, I guess you could say, of looking for certain things. So I wanted to look and see if they did have the July Small Die of the Month Club available a la carte without having to be in the club. But it didn't turn out that they had it, so I went ahead and ordered these two dies from Spellbinders. This one is Saint Nick, and he is shown at 95%, so he's a little bit bigger than what you're seeing here. And you don't usually get this version of Saint Nick, so I thought I would go ahead and order him. And so, yeah, really cute. And the other die that I ordered is actually from one of their large die of the month, October 2024. This one is the Cozy Slippers set, and it makes 5 different types of slippers. The reindeer that you see, and then Santa, penguin, bunny, and a monster. And the bunny has a hat, and well, you can actually probably interchange them, but there's also the little earmuffs for the penguin. Why a penguin would need earmuffs, I do not know. So yeah, I picked those two up, and these are both released from 2024, so you could probably hopefully still find them if you're interested. I also picked up this set of Jane Davenport colored pencils. You're probably wondering why. I actually purchased this for the tin. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't need colored pencils, so I went ahead and purchased it for the size of the tin. It was $8.50 for the pencils, so I thought, what? That's the cheapest I could find. Why not? It's probably the same as, well, actually, probably a little bit more to buy an empty tin from some Etsy shop. So that's what I did. So as you guys know, I've been on this little leg of buying acrylic markers, and so I've also been testing out papers because, of course, I wanted to swatch the markers onto whatever paper I'm going to mostly be using. And they recommend using something that's smooth. So I've tested some of the ones that I have already, and also some that I wanted to try out. So I've landed on a card that I like, and I'm going to probably use that for most of what I do with it. We'll see. So I did test the Hammermill 100 pound. This is the one I use for Copic, but it's too streaky, so not good. This is Stonehenge White, which is like a mixed media paper, but it's too rough. It's not as rough as, say, a watercolor paper, but I don't want it to mess up my nibs. So you can see what it looks like there. And then I got on to buying some other journals because, of course, I need something for swatching. And this isn't for swatching. This was just a curiosity. This is a Hanamu bamboo mixed media paper. And you can see how tiny it is. I didn't want to pay too much for something I was just going to try out. And I figured I could use this for watercolor and the acrylic markers on top for some little tiny doodles. There's 10 sheets in here. So it's 90% bamboo fiber and 10% cotton rag. Most watercolor papers, they recommend 100% cotton, which, you know, is not that great of it's not a renewable resource that's, you know, very fast growing like bamboo is. So wanted to see what this was like. Now, I am not, my preference is to be able to do something on white paper. And a lot of times what they say is white isn't as bright white as I'd like. So let me just say it this way. I landed on the Bristol Smooth paper for my swatching and also for the journals that I want to use because it seems to be the whitest that I've found, and also nice and smooth, and the marker lays down really well. So this is some swatching on that paper, and I ultimately did use this particular, not this one, but the larger size pad for my swatch. And sometimes you will get that, like you'll get some of the streakiness, but it will go away if you do a second layer. So this is one layer of marker, and this is very close to white. Now my preference would have been to be able to use, let me show you this paper. This one, if I could have found it again, but it's not on the market. So I purchased one of these some time ago for my Copic coloring and or alcohol marker coloring, but the company is not making this anymore. And I looked down and it said made in Germany. So I looked to see if there was other manufacturers from Germany making Bristol paper, and I ordered something. So I'll show that to you as well. But if you look at this paper, it is more white than, say, this one. You can see the difference, right? So my preference was to use something like this, so I went on a hunt for that as well. But this is a gel crayon, the tempera paint sticks that I got. This was activated by water. This is just letting it dry. And I kind of smudged it a little bit with my finger just to play with it. And then this is 2 colors of acrylic marker before they dried down, and me rubbing my finger through it to see if they would blend. And that is, I think that's this marker set right here, the Arrtx. So I settled on using something like this just because I think I'll be using this for my drawing or coloring and playing in this size. And then, of course, because it's so small, I had to order a larger one to use for my swatch cards because I want to have the swatch all on one page. This is a 9x12 journal. So what I've done is just taken the paper out, cut it out, and then printed my swatch chart. Okay, so these are my swatch charts. And I purchased this from an Etsy seller for less than $3. She gave me a coupon, or he gave me a coupon for it as a download. You can see how this is on 8.5x11 copy paper. It's actually goes this way. And you get different swatch cards. So I believe this is a 20. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 20. And I printed it multiple times. I don't know why. Probably because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then this one is 36. So if you had different size, whatever it is you're swatching, you can use that. Let me turn that over. 36. And you get also a 60. This one's 60. So if you have a larger set of something, and then this is 120. I wanted to see them all together on one page. So that's what I've done. Okay, here's my swatch. And all I've done is put it in one of those, this one happens to be an Office Depot page protector. So I cut down my paper and into 8.5x11 and then ran it through my inkjet printer, printing out the swatch card. And then all I did was, again, use my label maker for this. I wrote what type of paper it is so that I would know later on. And then the visual journal is what I pulled it from, and then I did the swatch in 2025. So if the colors start to fade or whatever, then I would know how old the swatch card was, because I don't think I did that for my Copics. But so yeah, these are, I don't know if these are light fast, but it doesn't matter to me because I'm not selling artwork or anything like that. But you can see I took a couple of hours to do this. I've swatched this more than once. This is my finished swatch card. You can see here, this is it. These are different swatches of the same pens on that sketch bar paper. So this is too small for my swatch card, so I couldn't use that. And this is a very nice white, but you can tell that the visual journal is a little slightly different off-colored color. And so I did a lot of sort of testing the marker out to see what colors that it would come, you know, in the best order. So this is me trying to order my markers. in the best way possible to the way that I would be wanting to see it. So I just put them in color groups. And so you can see most of the violets are over here, and then it goes into pinks and reds, oranges, yellows, greens, blues, and then the neutrals, and you've got like some are gray, and then there's actually 2 metallics in my set, a gold and a silver, and then there's also black and white. And you can see sometimes I didn't stay in the line. I particularly was interested in seeing the white and the opacity for it. It doesn't cover up, but I'm sure it will be nice to be able to layer that on something else at some point. So this is my finished color chart. My markers are actually ordered inside the box in this way. This is 120 markers. So the way the box is also laid out, it's a 10 by 12 grid. So that's how I laid it out. They are ordered like this. So unfortunately, you know, the colors don't always line up to having 10 of each or whatever, which is fine. But I just did my best so that I could actually find the marker really quickly according to the colors that I'm looking for. So that's just the way I think about it. I don't, you know, you guys can do however you like when you're doing your own swatching. So this is just the first swatch. I plan on swatching the other 2 sets, which are 240 each, 240 in number. So it'll probably be a flip on this side, 120 on this side, and then another one adjacent to it, 120. And I'll probably just add them. Instead of putting them in a notebook, I'm going to add them to my ringed Copic. Oh, well, these are my alcohol marker charts. Just add that onto these here, and then I'll be done. So I don't have to worry about looking for the charts. They'll all be together. The ring isn't full, so it's kind of a nice way. And I have this hanging from my carts that have my markers stored in them, so I don't have to go far for it. But yeah, so some of the other marker sheets that I tested, this one is marker mirror paper. I think Ohuhu makes this. I can't be sure, but I think they do because I've seen the marker pad with their label on it and without. I don't like this paper. It's supposed to be made for Copic coloring. This is one that is not supposed to bleed through. There's actually supposed to be a membrane in between the sheets of paper that doesn't allow the marker to bleed through. So that's why I say it's for alcohol marker coloring. But I don't like it because it's got a gray cast to it. I am very picky. I want it to be whiter. So this is the, again, this is the acrylic marker on this paper, and there's no bleed through at all. And that's because the membrane that's down in between, the sandwich between the paper, will not allow it to bleed through. But the one thing I realize about that is if you're Copic coloring or your alcohol marker coloring, that will reflect the ink back to the surface of the paper. So if you're heavy-handed, you probably wouldn't enjoy it too much, the experience. So other failed attempts. This is actually trace paper, I believe. So it's kind of thin. You can see through it. I was, again, just testing out the markers and trying to put them in the color families. You can see I started with this actual paper. Then I did it again on this paper, which is my attempt at finding this sketch bar paper pad, because both of them are made in Germany. And I was trying to see if this company had made this particular paper. They are not the same. For one, this is a very nice quality. This company's been making paper since, like, I think it was 1584. So that's a long time to be making paper. But the card inside of here is super smooth, super smooth. And it's a very nice quality. I, again, will like to use this as well for drawing or whatever. It is actually smoother as a Bristol Smooth than this one is. I just thought the laydown was really nice in here, but this one is even smoother than that. And you can tell, whoops, sorry. You can tell by the marker swatches, which is not me going over too much. It's just me like 2 strokes. And then seeing what I did was just did the entire order that I wanted and then took a visual look to see, is that the order that I want? And I didn't mess with it, actually. I just kept going. And I had to do it in multiples of 10s because that's how my markers are arranged inside the box and also in the swatch chart. So it's multiples of 10s and there's 12 columns of 10. So you can see that here. But this paper is beautiful. Remember, acrylic marker is just like, it's plastic. Once it dries down, there is a raised feeling to it. You can actually feel that across the paper. These are the 2 metallics on that. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you, what I've been doing and my haul. But yeah, I'm going to, again, work on lots of swatching. The other 2 sets that I purchased, which I have already printed out my labels for. These are the other 2 sets I showed in my previous haul video. And I also need to work on my watercolor swatching, which I haven't done yet either. I haven't even put them in order. So yeah, that's going to be a big undertaking. But the other thing I want to do with the acrylic markers is, because I have 3 sets now and they are such big sets, I would like to do one where it has all of the colors from one color family. So once I've ordered them in each of their sets like this, like according to my visual coloring, I would take all of the violets from the one set or from all 3 sets and then put them together so that I can see where the overlap is that I have amongst the markers. So yeah, that's what I plan to do. That's going to be quite the undertaking after I put the other 2 sets of 240 in the order that I want them in, because the swatch charts that they give you are not in that order, and it's easier for me to just pull the markers I want because I can just go, okay, that's the closest to what I'm looking for and move on, right? So I know that's a lot to say, but that's what I've been doing. And it is a little crazy because I haven't been creating as far as that's concerned. But I'm okay with that. It's just part of the journey, right? The other thing I wanted to mention is, I think when I purchased this set, this was marketed as a manga set, like for people who draw anime and stuff like that. So there's a lot more tones for skin in here, like neutral colors in here. It's actually three rows, almost 3 full rows. Some of the pinks arguably you could probably put together in here. I didn't feel like redoing my set. So there are a lot of flesh tones in here. I don't want to call it that, but that's what I'm calling it, or neutral tones, so that you get enough of those. I'm not really interested in drawing people. That's just not my thing. But there is that in there because I believe this particular 120 set was marketed that way. And I don't know if, like, they have smaller sets right now. I don't know if they're going to have a bigger set. I don't know if those other sets are all in this 120 set. I have no idea because I'm not planning on purchasing those. But obviously these are stored vertically as opposed to horizontally, unlike the other 2 sets that I have. So I wish I could put them all together, but I can't because they say to store these vertically, not horizontally, like the other 2. So anyway, that's it for now. Enough rambling, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.